This particular vlog may turn into Urdu at some point as it's directed at Pakistanis. If it does, I'd try and add subtitles when needed. It's not likely that it'll be getting much views, but even if the video manages to motivate even one individual to reflect, it's worth my effort. I do feel compelled and obligated to express my perspective on the topic. This video is a response to a recent incident that occurred at minar-e-Pakistan possibly a week or two back, in which human sanctity and fundamental liberty was challenged. I've not seen any of the late videos, but did a couple of days back hear some of the responses to the incident that people had uploaded on social media as my brother listened to them on his phone. I'm assuming people shared them with him or something. At the centre of the whole ordeal is a middle-aged woman who's also a TikToker of some sort. The woman initially she was assumed to be a victim, but it now appears likely that she'd pre-planned and organised the whole thing to gain publicity for a channel. What occurred was that the lady's garment was torn publicly. What the woman was conveying was that it was at the hands of the vast mob, ordinary Pakistanis, being entertained by and participating in the desecration of human being. In light of the greater evidence, the witnesses and the security at the place, and the woman's own behaviour following when the alleged crime occurred, the story appears to be something else, and the common ordinary Pakistani is the victim of this woman instead of the other way around. By her use of a day and place that most Pakistanis hold sacred to act out her unholy intentions. How I initially came to learn of the incident was when my sister mentioned to me that there's been a news trending since a few days about some woman being treated disrespectfully at minar-e-Pakistan by a mass mob, and she's filing a report against 400 people. I had prior to this come across a video recommendation with the most disgusting title and thumbnail. The maker of the video used his own name to name the channel, which got me thinking that there may be some authenticity in what he's saying. He'd displayed a woman's face on one side with a wide-angle image in the middle, and a picture of himself bursting with excitement over the masala he'd managed to get his hands on on the other side of the thumbnail, with no display of sensitivity or circumspection over the nature of the issue or space and hijab for the victim. I flicked past assuming it was a clickbait, and even if it wasn't, how was that knowledge going to enlighten me? Then a few days later, my sister mentions that there's been some recent incident in which the mass were involved against a single victim, and I couldn't ignore it no longer. But there was and is no need for me or for anyone to view a video of when the alleged crime occurred, because that does make you a participant in violation of the woman's space and liberty. The very thing that everyone's lips are constantly condemning, yet they're exhibiting no hesitation in admitting to viewing the content that violates her. I find this open hypocrisy objectionable. Even if the woman, in this particular case, in actual fact, is bad and criminal herself in the particular case, it does not diminish anyone else's responsibility to exercise ethics and manners in what they allow their eyes and ears to participate in. I was someplace yesterday and I could hear from the other room some YouTuber honking loud in Urdu about, "We'll tell you how much of her clothes got torn," and etc, etc. And Imran Khan, the current primer, watched it, and so watched it, the video the whole footage, and they watched it, and just going on and on like that. I asked my son to close the door. My son's Urdu isn't the best, so he doesn't understand unless he's really concentrating hard, which he avoids doing. But imagine how you're normalizing brutality, vulgarity, by speaking so loosely about it in a casual manner. It's just wrong. When something's ugly, saying that it is ugly is enough. By dissecting it to allow people to explore the intricacies of ugliness, you're lowering your own standards and those of others. And the woman's bad, no doubt about it, but with what right would you be condemning her when you yourselves wouldn't be showing moral standards on your part? The woman, she tried to draw a parallel between herself and Zainab bint Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhum, but the example that Bibi Zainab alayha set and the message that she left for this woman or for you and me is totally opposite of what we're all doing today. This woman was Yazid, no doubt about it, and not Zainab. I'm not questioning that. She is one person, though. It is the masses that the reaction of whom determines the impact a single person's actions will create. You're allowing the woman to succeed by needlessly viewing the desecration of a human being and immersing in insensitive and hijab-free discussions on the incident. Wipe off the cosmetic morality and rip off the mask of hypocrisy from your faces and just swallow your words of condemnation towards her if you can't first condemn your own responses and actions following the incident, if indeed you have not exercised hijab or sensitivity, and have no plans to endorse higher standards within your own character. The superficial facades don't make you any more moral, only more hypocritical. If 3 or 4 sentences are enough to give you an understanding of what is going on, then why are there people trying to squeeze out all the entertainment value that they can from this incident? Even if the story that the woman tells is a lie, it's not a lie that human sanctity was challenged, be it at the hands of the woman herself or anyone else. The incident is tragic regardless of whether the woman is a liar or not. And there should be no entertainment sought in tragedy. Those that do try and seek entertainment value in such things, they should have some shame, some boundaries, have some truth in themselves. There's obviously millions that are refraining from the masala value in the whole saga, but there remain millions that do continue to give views to insensitive content creators and encourage them. What my issue is that this woman's not the only liar here. Even those that are condemning her are showing hypocrisy on their own part. On many Pakistani TV channels, anchor persons, they'll sit there asking, say, the parents of a murder victim, how does it feel to have to never ever be able to see a child again? Imagine what pain he must have felt. What do you think his last moments were like? When and how did it happen? Explain the details within the details. What are the specifics of how your son was raped, or how was he strangled? Where were the marks? What were your feelings? What are your feelings now? Tell us. Tell our audience. Your tragedy and pains are masala. This is most disrespectful, most insensitive. It's not right. Yet it's happening all the time, every day, on TV channels and with massive audience giving this content, this kind of stuff, viewership. If one were to truly feel one moment of another's lasting pain, you wouldn't be exploiting victims through creating demand as audience, or content that rubs salt on the wounds of genuine victims as you try to delve deeper into what ugliness feels like. If you did truly feel only just one person's pain, you die with trauma and you're pretending to carry the pain of the whole world in your hearts. I wonder where that pain goes as soon as you flick to the next video or channel after doing a brief performance of sympathy, sitting cozily in your sofa seats, or where that pain is when you be drooling over the restaurant menus after finding which is the coolest place for you to go. This is just one example of the hypocrisy that exists in the hearts of so many that are condemning the actions of this lady. You sort yourselves out, and this woman's just one person, and you as a mass represent this society. Well, my son doesn't act in drama. I don't do acting. My children are not in movies and stuff, so I'm morally superior from an Islamic perspective. So I'm closer to God, and I have the right to boast. I have the right to condemn. It's this attitude, and it's not right. When you're watching the content these actors and all these drama people produce and buying into whatever they're doing, the content they're making and stuff, how does that separate you from the sins that they are committing? People be labeling people as extremists. If someone were to try and refrain from the movies, the drama, and all that kind of entertainment, and reality television that's considered like kosher, like halal. People want to have this fluidity, and then at the same time claim that they've got stern principles. Tazkiyah. Just like you need to take care of your skin from inside out, same works with the morality. What you eat, breathe, your sleep, your exercise, all determines the quality of your skin. And likewise, your actions, convictions, standards, principles define your moral aptitude and standing. Being on the hunt to find someone else to condemn, or superficial cosmetic procedures to enhance or accentuate what bits of your moral charisma you want to impress upon others, aren't going to beautify your character if honesty and beauty are the thing you lack within your heart. Let honesty be the first step you take to personal growth. And honesty is not honesty if it's mere cosmetic. It needs to be skin deep to be real. When you have that, everything else will follow, and the seeds of Haya and Raham will truly prosper and flourish within your character. Focus on being honest with God, and all will be well for eternity. This case has highlighted how a vast section of Pakistanis are confused about how, when, where, and if to apply Haya boundaries. And they look either at the white cultures to see how they could comfortably get away with copying their ways to be seen as modern, or at the Indian cultures to see how they could make themselves appear traditional and authentic. When setting up the administrative aspects of Pakistan's governance, MuhammadurRasoolAllah stated, "Who was anyone to write a constitution for Pakistan when MuhammadurRasoolAllah had already written it through his Sallallahu Sharia and Sunnah?" Most Pakistanis don't fail to condemn all the monkeys in the parliament, and maybe a human or two as well. But your governments, or anybody's governments and politicians, are a reflection of the society they govern. Obviously, not everyone endorses the cultural behaviors or attitudes, but I'm talking about the influential mass that are the full face of Pakistan at the moment. I'm a Pakistani myself, and our government and MPs, they don't necessarily represent all of us, but they do represent those sections that are most active and influential. The Pakistani government's failing, and there's administrative chaos at the governmental level in managing the affairs of the country and guarding the welfare of citizens, because they rejected the premise upon which the country was founded. So same is going to happen when within the neighborhoods and homes, people are going to reject the Sharia and Sunnah of MuhammadurRasoolAllah in our lives and characters. As the nation walks confused in search of moral identity and rejecting the core fundamentals of the faith that most people of that country identify with, their faces change constantly like a working television screen as they try and mirror the media environment that they're in. That's the current state of most Pakistanis today. All morality is superficial and cosmetic, and they fail to recognize the irony in how their attitudes shift from moment to moment. And before they've even moved from the physical position in which they may be settled, they lose track of who or what they really are or want to project themselves as, living a moment at a time, shape-shifting between ideals. Genuine principles remain standing, they don't morph or shift shapes. The only thing that this moral fluidity does make one for certain is a hypocrite. It is both a precursor and the result. Exercise tazkiyah, talk to God. God isn't fazed by superficial condemnation of evil. You haven't got a choice but to be true to God. When you do start consciously presenting your honest self before God, you end up being honest to yourself too, and the truth starts drawing deeper into you. Remember that it's not places that make people, but the values. It is opportunistic mindsets that draw people within different societies to form consensus over different habits and traditions. And this current state of moral confusion over here is prevalent in many Muslim societies and is not necessarily specific to Pakistan, and is very convenient in allowing them to maintain that fluidity, to be easily able to shape shift in different environments and situations. There was recently a television drama on Pakistani TV that finished. It must have been several dozen episodes, maybe. I didn't watch the whole drama myself, but there are other family members that did.
They pulled my hand for no reason.
Go see. इधर आ, इधर बो, इधर बैठ. Take him. So I did end up seeing substantial amount of clips and bits to grasp what was happening. It was called Dunk and was about a woman who falsely accused people of sexual harassment to get her way in things. One of the actresses that played a character in the drama as the wife of one of the victims claimed to have been very proud as a feminist for her participation in the series, and boasted about her parents having been activists too and having moral and ethical conviction in her blood and upbringing. But the drama was in actual fact misogynistic. That goes to show how much moral clarity we do have as Pakistanis about what we're doing or ought to do when it comes to Haya or gender rights. This drama that this feminist was so proud to have participated in, it's like when the man was considered evil, his family were tolerant of him despite the condemnation. They funded his weddings, housed him, fed him and everything. And but when the woman's evil was exposed, her father, he couldn't bear the thought of living with her. Ended up killing himself. They had these speeches by that character's father about the responsibilities and implications of being a daughter's father. But in how the story was conducted, there was no sensitivity or respect shown by that, the girl's father's own brother and nephews towards his well-being and emotional comfort. I mean, people do have children, problem people within their families, but wise people would deal with it in a manner that guards the collective welfare of all involved and affected. The guy that was portrayed as a hero in this particular drama was given rights, in the character that he played, to cross ethical boundaries and moral boundaries over and over. And it was okay because the woman was the true evil. So the evil that he committed, it was abrogated by her evil. I mean, that's the idea that was packaged and sold in this drama. It is this attitude that makes that makes this society hypocritical. This may have been a character within a drama, but the audience that was buying into the drama is real. The woman that attempted to desecrate minar-e-Pakistan is real, as is everybody that is responding to her in a less than discreet manner. So the confused approach to Haya and morality that we saw in the drama Dunk existed in there because it was already prevalent in the society that the drama was made for. The characters and roles that were in the drama, they may have been unreal, but the actors that played them were real. And confusion is, such that a proud feminist is proud of having been involved in exploitation of a sensitive situation for maximum masala value, with a display of utmost insensitivity. One person's crime liberating all from any responsibility and standards. Tazkiyah is the need. Come to God and God will come to you within your hearts. God is good, and when God is within your hearts, goodness is within your heart. When goodness is within your hearts, then there remains no need for you to make loud condemnations as declarations of your ethical convictions or moral superiority. If your silence doesn't say it, then your words say exactly something else, regardless of what you're trying to convey. I'm not saying that condemnation in itself is bad, but condemnation without moral convictions and display of higher standards within your own character on your own part is hypocrisy. And you may as well be talking to the mirror than to be talking about this woman if you're not going to conduct yourself honorably. When you've cured hypocrisy, you cured a lot of the evils within the society. Be true to God, and you'd be true to yourself. And when you're true to yourself, you'd start being true to everyone else and become real, honest, and truthful. When tazkiyah is the foundation of your truthfulness, you're not evil, and neither is your truth. The truth you tell and the truth about you. Those that seek God need to stop being opportunistic, to always be in the search for what actions and attitudes their immediate cultural environment and conditions would allow them to get away with, and always be pushing the boundaries. Those that are opportunistic are hypocrite, not seekers nor the speakers of truth, because they fail to find God. Their attitudes are such that as to claim that God has failed them. Astaghfirullah. The sins of others are no testimony to your being any better. and they give themselves rights that Sharia considers non-rights. The failures on their part and on the part of God in how they conduct themselves is as though God is non-existent in their lives. Yet they would reject that they are atheists. You can be atheistic without being an atheist. Hypocrisy is perhaps the first step on the journey to complete denial of God. Make faith and ethics present in your life, and be true to yourselves. Find the truth within you, and you found God truly. God is good, and your goodness would be a testimony to your relationship with God. If your relationship with God isn't good, then it says something about you. You're neither good nor truthful. If you don't conduct yourselves with haya, shame, dignity, fairness, and responsibility, then no matter how loud you are in impressing moral standing and glorifying yourselves, your state speaks more about you than your words do. Unless you conduct yourself honorably before the ever-watching, ever-present God.
Look, it says this Abdullah. He said to that press yes.
Yeah. Tell him you should sleep.